Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation, which is called The World Needs You to Be Outlandish. 3 major paradigm shifts to help you overcome fear and live from a place of pure passion and deep intuition. And I am Jocelyn Mercado. I am the creator of Sacred Planet and life coach and business coach. And I am so excited to share this information with you today. So for all those who are joining live, please go ahead over to the chat and put your name and location in there so that I can see who's on and where you're calling in from. I always love to see who we have gathered. And I am so excited today because we're going to have an outlandish crowd today, right? We're going to have, hi Monique, we're going to have a group of people who really identify with what I sent out in the email. So let me just share this image, because I love this. So here is a dragon fruit. If any of you saw the initial email I sent out inviting everybody to this gathering, I was asking everyone, do you feel like a dragon fruit, right? Are you the dragon fruit at the supermarket? And everybody else in our normal world, right, is apples and oranges. And you are this gorgeous and unusual and just filled with so much amazingness dragon fruit. So I love it. And so somebody in my audience who's in Central America wrote to me after I sent that email, and she said, did you know that right now is dragon fruit season? Like, all the dragon fruits are ripe right now in Central America. And I had no idea about that. So I just think this dragon fruit has a really important message for us right now to like stand out, be different, be outlandish. This is what the world needs right now. So welcome everybody who's joining. Hi Monique and Louise. Hi Andrea in Halifax. Hi Jenny. Hi Kelly in Oklahoma. Yes, Monique, I love it. Me too. Hi Dawn in the UK. Hi CT from Georgia. Gemma from Brazil. Rose from Europe. Diane from Toronto. Chi from the UK. Hello, everybody. Hi, Lucy from Ontario. Hi, Ibtisam. Hi, Jean in Missouri. Hi, Bakarha in Geneva. Love it. Hi, Gloria in Washington. So glad to see you all. And I know we have more people still joining, so don't be shy as you're joining. Go ahead, put your name and location in the chat so I can see you and see where you're calling in from. So today for this presentation, I want to really welcome you to just set aside this time and really go deep into this space with me. And I'm realizing, hold on a second, I gotta fix my lighting here. There we go. Really go deeply into this space with me because we're gonna have so much fun today. Oh, hi, Chandra in Nicaragua. Yes, you wrote to me. Yes, I'm so glad you told me that. That just made it all so much more special. So I invite you to really go deeply into this space with me. We're going to have so much fun. We have an outlandish crowd gathered. I can't wait to see your insights and what you put in the chat. And also, I just really want to make sure that you all have a journal or a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil with you. So if you don't have that, go run and get it now, because I think you're going to want to take some notes. And I do have there's a little 2-minute exercise where I'm going to ask you to write something down. So if you are listening to this live or as a recording, just go ahead and grab your pen and pencil now, or your notebook or whatever you want, and then join me back here. Now, like I said, we're going to have so much fun today. We're going to examine some really paradigm shifting ideas. And honestly, I am drawing these ideas from the way that I have been living my life that has allowed me to create Sacred Planet, to bring together all of you amazing, beautiful, outlandish people out there who are listening to this, right, and to form this global tribe. And I want to really invite you into this whole other dimension of space, into how you can do what is right for you, right, but that is following your highest path. I think it's so important for the world at this time. Clearly, the mainstream, widely accepted, highly logical and linear, ways of doing things are just not working. What is considered normal in our world is becoming insane, right? And so I know all of you on this call feel the same way that I do. We need a new way. We need a new way forward, and it's got to start from each and every one of us. So it's like, we can have fun with this, and this is a way for you to like to shift your life and to step into a whole higher level of fulfillment and joy and passion and intuition. And at the same time, we're doing something very, very important for the larger collective and for the bigger picture and contributing to the larger plan of what needs to happen on our planet. And it's beautiful in that way, right? Because when we have fun and we laugh and we get outlandish, amazing, miraculous things happen. That's how the universe works, right? So that's what I'm inviting you to here today. And I'm just so excited to share this with you. So I hope you all have your pen or pencil and a notebook or a piece of paper. And I invite you just to really, turn off distractions, turn off your phone, or put it in the next room over, close the door to your office, right? Whatever works to give you the space and no distractions so you can really be fully here. And so to start out, what I want to share with you is just a little bit of introduction before we get to these three major paradigm shifts. Okay. So what I want to share with you first is that, what we all most deeply desire in our lives is to leave behind pain, leave behind a state of feeling trapped, and emerge into a state of freedom. And I think we're all feeling this dichotomy, this paradox right now between being trapped and being free very, very strongly. Because everything has been so intense for the last couple of years or so. Like everything's been so intense that we need a new word. The word intense doesn't even encompass it anymore, right? We've gotten used to living in this way. And those of us who are sensitive, highly sensitive and intuitive and tuned into the energetics right now, we can just feel there are big changes afoot. There are big things happening. We're getting these energetic upgrades, right? Our intuitive powers are increasing. And so we're really feeling this push and pull between like feeling trapped and frustrated about some things in our life, and then feeling like getting this real felt sense that we have everything we need within us to completely break free and to live in an entirely new way. So these three paradigm shifts I'm going to share with you today are going to really help you on that journey of how to break free. And so in the ideal or the most advanced state of freedom, I see it as like all the way just completely trapped and frustrated as like on this end of the spectrum, and then complete and total state of freedom is on the other end. And all of us are somewhere in the middle there, right? And we're wanting to get more and more toward this end of a really complete state of freedom. And so when we are experiencing that total freedom, it means that we have cast off all the bonds and the limitations that used to hold us in place. Or in some cases, we've just accepted the limitations and surrendered to them and decided they're not going to hold us back, right? And we're going to do it anyway. I'll talk a little more about that in a little bit. But we're free. When we have this state of freedom, we are free to live our life in the way that is most fulfilling to us, to each of us as an individual. It's very different for each and every person who is listening, and different for me than it would be for any of you, right? In this state of freedom, we can be our truly authentic selves, fully self-expressed, really living from this place of passion and deep intuition, and really living every day in tune with the mystery and the miracles and the abundance that the universe is always wanting to send to us, right? And we can travel if we want, or we can spend time with the people we love the most, or we can do the work that we love, whatever is most important to each of us. All of these things are based on having the freedom in your life to choose. And as I said, all of us are somewhere on the spectrum between being trapped on this side and having total freedom on this side. We're somewhere in the middle. Might be a little more on this end, might be feeling a little more on this end. And the goal in any transformational life change is to move you further along the spectrum toward this side of complete freedom. So in order to move from the state of being trapped to a state of complete freedom, we have to find something that is bigger and more important to us than staying in that trapped place, okay? And that may seem obvious, but this is really tough. This is really challenging, because the truth is that the trapped place is often our comfort zone. And even though it may be uncomfortable in some ways, It's familiar, and it's what we've always known. And it's, you know, it's something that subconsciously, our subconscious mind is telling us, well, this is survivable. You know, you've done this before, so it's safe. So you should just stay here. And we're really programmed to replicate what is familiar. But in order to really move toward the freedom side of that spectrum, we need to take a huge step outside of that comfort zone. We need to create an entirely new experience for ourselves. We need to try something that's entirely new in order to really prove to ourselves that we can choose a completely different way of being or living or showing up in the world. And when we have the courage to do this, and when we can take it one step at a time, it doesn't have to be the big leap all at once, but it's like taking actions toward getting outside of that comfort zone. Then we get there, we get outside of the comfort zone, we give the new thing a try, we create that entirely new experience for ourselves, and we see, oh my gosh, that wasn't so bad. It was a little scary at first, but then now it's amazing, right? Or, you know, and look, I survived it. And this is really, really powerful, because not only are we seeing it on this conscious level, like intellectually, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't think I could do this, but I tried it and it was amazing. Or even if it wasn't like completely off the chart amazing, I did pretty well, and I bet I'll do even better next time, right? But not only is it this like intellectual mental process of looking at it that way, but on a subconscious level, you know, our subconscious is the part of ourselves that wants to stay with what's familiar and safe, wants us to play small because that's safe. Our subconscious now is seeing proof that we did this entirely new and different and scary thing, and we survived. We didn't die, right? We are still safe. We are actually thriving now in this new experience. And so the subconscious mind has to shift its beliefs. And that opens up a whole new world for what becomes possible for you. Because when you show your subconscious mind the proof that you can do something completely outside of that comfort zone, you can survive and even thrive in it, and be happy and fulfilled and joyful in it and safe, then the subconscious mind, because it has this proof now, becomes much more open to trying new things. And then you try another new thing, and you try another new thing. And some of them will work and some of them won't, but that's okay. You're trying new things, you're safe, you're surviving. That's becoming your new familiar. This place of a little bit of the unknown, a little bit of the unexpected is becoming the familiar. You're getting more and more comfortable there, and you can keep on taking these steps toward your highest self and your full self-expression. And ultimately, you know, when we talk about the bigger picture of the earth and the world, ultimately you're taking more and more steps toward making your highest contribution to the future of our world. So that's what we're all really here to do. So this is how we rewire neural pathways, right? And this is how we create true and lasting change in our lives. You know, as a transformational life coach, I don't take that title lightly. Like, it's really important for me that I am creating transformation in people's lives and in their businesses. And this is how we do it, by creating an entirely new experience and finding out that it was way more fun than we thought it was going to be. And then we begin to feel a longing and a passion to keep doing that again and again. And that is when we experience freedom. And that is when we find ourselves living really and truly on purpose and with fulfillment and joy every day, because we're not trapped anymore. And we might not be all the way on the complete freedom side, but we're so much closer to it. We're so much, more importantly, we're so much further away from that trapped and frustrated feeling, because we're taking actions, we're shifting things, we're changing things. We are living in alignment with what our intuition is telling us and what our passion and our dreams are directing us toward. You know, it's not a mistake that we have passions and dreams and longings to do something different. It is our soul speaking to us. It's not selfish to listen to that voice. It is absolutely a necessity to listen to that voice inside your dreams and your passions. So We can also, this is really important, we all have limitations in our lives. It may be a health issue. It may be a fear. It may be, family members that want to hold us back. This can come in many forms, but it may be a financial situation, right? But we truly can, we always can take any limitations that we have, the obstacles, the challenges that are holding us back, and we can either take decisive action to overcome them. Sometimes that is possible and sometimes it's not. If that is not possible, or not possible yet, right? Maybe someday it will be, but right now it's not possible. We can accept those limitations. We can surrender to them because they're given to us for some higher reason. And we can take action anyway. We can always find ways to take action even once we've accepted these limitations and surrendered to them, if that's what we need to do. And we can still take action. We can still get outside of our comfort zones and live the most incredible life. And sometimes we have to get really creative with that, but it can always be done. You can always find a way to take action toward your highest purpose. And this is exactly what the world needs each of us to be doing right now. The old ways of staying safe and comfortable and following the status quo and following, as Terry Patton says in his book, he calls it the consensus trance, right? It's this trance that we've all been indoctrinated into of this is how the world works, like consumerism and all the marketing and all of the, we have to depend on fossil fuels and we have to depend on these certain, governments, whether they actually serve our highest good or not. All of this is not necessarily fact, right? So the old way of falling into that consensus trance and saying, oh yes, that's just the way it is, it's just not working anymore, right? And the old way of like trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to build your life based on what everybody else is doing, it's just not working anymore. And I know all of you are really, really feeling that. Like all of us Dragonfruits are really feeling this right now. And it can be isolating, but I want you to really work on shifting that, right, out of that feeling of isolation into that feeling of, I feel different from all these people around me because I am meant to do something really different and bring something completely new into the world. That's why you're feeling that way. And that is so beautiful. And you're so deeply needed. So today I'm here to share with you 3 major paradigm shifts to help you overcome fear, because it comes back to fear, right, of getting outside of that comfort zone. So to help you overcome fear so you can really and truly live from a place of pure passion and deep intuition, because that is where the joy is. That is where the freedom is. Now, the most important thing for you to know as I start sharing these 3 ways is that the answers are already within you. There's a quote that says, we are born wise, we are born complete. And that is so true. Whatever life experiences you're having, whatever expertise and skills and talents you already have are exactly what you need. You don't need to go get a new PhD. You don't need to, go out and become an expert in some new thing. You have everything you need right now. Now, you may want to do those things as a nice extra add-on, but you don't have to. The universe trains us perfectly to do exactly what we're needed to do. So you already possess everything within you that you need to take your next big leap forward and have amazing insights and visions about which direction you really need to be heading and redesign your life. And these 3 paradigm shifts I'm going to share with you today will really help you to jumpstart that process of leaping forward toward the life that you're dreaming of. Okay, so paradigm shift number 1. We're going to get right into the fear. Okay, paradigm shift number 1 is you must do exactly what you are most afraid of. And this feels really scary. It sounds really scary, but let me explain. So we have to take decisive action to change our lives. We have to take action. That is key. And the number one action you can take is pretty much always going to be to do what you fear the most. This has been so true in my life, continues to be true in my life. And I have seen this in every single one of my clients, because the universe works in very mysterious ways, as we know. And one of those ways is that in almost every single person's life, possibly everyone, right? I don't want to make overly blanket statements, but really and truly, at least in almost every single person's life, whatever they're most afraid of is exactly what they need to be doing in order to achieve their highest purpose and make their highest contribution to the world. It's kind of like we need to go through an initiation in order to really be ready to bring forth our highest gifts and our highest contribution and our brightest light. And the universe sets us up with that initiatory process already built into the system, right? And so I want you to know that I am not saying this, in an idealistic way. I am not saying this in a way where I want you to go out and do something, but I wouldn't do it myself. I am living this every single day. And this is something I have learned in order to evolve, in order for it, and it's like me and my business are intricately tied together on this. In order for me to evolve, in order for my business, Sacred Planet, to evolve, and for me and my business to both be of highest service to the world, I have to continually be moving toward what I am afraid of. It's like, it is a law for me in my life. And I want to really invite you into this space. So my story, I'll tell you just a little bit about this, is, sometime between 2012 to 2014, a lot of things were shifting for me in my perspective of how I understood the world, and my, my spiritual awakening was certainly happening at that point. And it became clear to me that in order to live my purpose, I needed to start my business, Sacred Planet. I needed to quit my corporate finance job, and I needed to leave my marriage of 15 years at that point. So, talk about doing things that we're afraid of. Letting go of all the stability in your life, right, is basically what I knew I was called to do. And I had 2 very young children at that time. They're still pretty young. They're a little older now. And so letting go of all the stability in my life and just surrendering to this higher calling and really trusting somehow, thank goodness, I had, through my spiritual practices up until that point, I had developed this very, very profound level of trust that I am guided and I am protected and everything's going to be okay, and what I need will be provided. And so with that trust, it took me a little while to get used to this whole idea, of course, and really take action. But with that level of trust, I was able to do these things that were vital for me to be fully self-expressed and fully serving my purpose, at least to the highest ability that I can, right, at this point in my life. And here's an important key that I think is going to really help you to integrate this and be able to digest this. Here's the key. Sometimes the universe helps us. Well, always the universe is helping us, but sometimes the universe steps in ways that we cannot ignore to help us make these big, scary decisions. So in my situation, my relationship with my husband was getting my then husband was getting more and more painful. The more that I followed my heart, my intuition, my soul into this whole new spiritual path, the more I could see that he did not support that new direction. He did not want to go there with me. And in the long run, I knew it was just not going to work for us, right? We were just not going to be able to be together in the way that, a partnership needs to be. And at the same time, my situation at my finance job, my corporate job, was getting just really terrible. There was a new boss that came in, horrible woman, horrible, horrible person. And she moved into being the head of our department. She moved into be the CFO, the head of the whole finance department. And apparently she hated me. I don't know what I ever did to her. I am a hard worker. I never tried to do anything to her. But behind my back, she started turning all of the upper level executive management against me, telling them all these horrible things about me that weren't even true. So this whole situation, it was like, you know, what is going on here? Why is this happening? And why is it all happening at the same time? Right? With my relationship, and then my spiritual journey was very intense. I had little kids and this job thing. And sometimes it really feels this way when we're getting pushed out of one situation and into a whole new thing. And for me at that point, everything was incredibly intense and really unbearable. I was under so much stress. And at some point, it kind of broke through into my awareness that I need to find a completely different way. This is just not, I can't keep doing this. I had to recreate my entire life. And that's what I did. That's what I was able to do, one step at a time, right? Not all at once, but one step at a time. And so everything that's happened since then with my business and my spiritual path, all these beautiful and amazing and magical things that have happened that I've been sharing with you now over the years were possible because I made those really tough decisions and did what I was most afraid to do at that time, which was to give up my financial security and the security of my marriage, right? Terrifying to give up those kinds of securities. So enough about me. What I want to ask you is, what is it for you? What is the situation in your life that's becoming more and more unbearable? What is the situation that the universe is clearly trying to help you move out of so that you can move into where you're meant to be? I want you to think about that situation now. And I invite you to surrender to the recognition that this situation is the universe helping you and guiding you toward your highest path. This is the universe helping you to do something that you're really, really afraid of, but you really need to do in order to become your highest self, in order to create that entirely new experience. So with this new way of looking at your situation, with this new understanding, what are you going to do about it? I want you to really think about that. And if there's an insight that's coming to you right now, write it down. What are you going to do about this? Now, if there's nothing coming to you right now, that's fine. But I invite you to ask for a dream, ask in a meditation, go out in nature and ask the trees or the clouds or the sky or the earth, what am I going to do about this? And sometimes the answer comes quickly and sometimes it takes a while, but just keep asking if you don't get an answer right away, because this is really important. This is absolutely critical for your life, for your freedom, for your joy. And again, bringing it back to the bigger picture as well, for the contribution that you are meant to make to our world to bring about a brighter future. It's all tied together. Now, I want to bring in a couple quotes from a coach. This is a life coach. His name is Mastan Kip, and he just has some awesome things to say about doing what we're most afraid of. So I'm going to read you a couple quotes from him and some comments that I have on them. It's really, really helpful. So he says, why don't we trust our ability to leap and land on our feet? Why are you not doing the thing that you're most afraid of? He says, the thing that you need to do the most is the thing that scares you the most, and you will not die from it. Oh, I'll put his name in a chat in just a minute. You will not die from it, okay? You will not die from quitting your job, leaving a bad relationship, or taking a week off to go on the vacation that you've always dreamed of. He says, we stay because of certainty. On the inside, we are terrified of change, and we think that if we change our behavior, we will die. Like, it feels like a survival level fear, right? It feels like we're going to die, or people are going to hate us, or something equally terrible will happen. But if you really look at the situation, is that really what's going to happen? I don't think so. And so he says, what are you most afraid to do? And unless you're in mortal danger by doing it, why aren't you doing it? And he says, these last two quotes I'll put in the chat too, because they're really important. He says, the quality of your life is directly related to the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably live with. And this is why I'm saying we need to decide to create the entirely new experience for ourselves, to bring in that uncertainty and step right into it and see that it's survivable and see that we can even thrive in that, so that we can be increasing the level of uncertainty that we can live with in our lives, so that we can step into that new path, right? A little bit outside of the comfort zone, and then step even further, and then even further. And it becomes fun. It becomes exciting. It becomes a way of life. So again, the quality of your life is directly related to the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably live with. And he says, decide to live in a perpetual state of courageous action. Now I'm going to put these quotes and his name in the chat. And I am going to, well, so let me respond, Katrina. Let me respond to what you've written here. Let me just put his name in the chat, and then I want to respond to this. Okay. So Katrina, you have to receive these insulin injections. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And this is really difficult, right? I really feel you here. You're saying, I've recently developed an autoimmune condition that makes me unconscious. The treatment for it can make you unconscious, right? Oh, and you're thinking it's a hint from your body that the treatment is not ideal. So in answer to this question from Mastan Kip, well, I could actually die without insulin, but it's difficult because for me, life with insulin injections is worse than death. Okay. So Katrina, I have a few things that are kind of coming through, rising up for me here. Intuitively for you. Okay. So one is that when there are certain health things going on, sometimes we have to surrender to them. Now, this isn't the end of what I'm saying, so keep listening. Sometimes we have to surrender to them, or surrender at least to a part of it, in order to move forward and find other solutions. So I invite you to, just for now, surrender to the fact that this is the situation right now. But when you can move into a place of surrender, very, very often, entirely new opportunities or solutions can open up that we couldn't even see before we did the surrendering piece, okay? And I would really strongly encourage you, this is just coming through really clearly, to find a functional medicine doctor. So this is still a doctor, but it's a doctor who brings in holistic methods to what they're doing, to see what other options might be available for you other than an insulin pump or insulin injections. And you want to be really careful. Like, you don't want to just stop the insulin injections, because you don't want to do something that actually could be life-threatening. But maybe you surrender to this situation just for now and find a functional medicine doctor, really, tap into your friends, your community, and your intuition in choosing this different kind of doctor. Could also be a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine doctor. And just have them do the complete full evaluation for you and ask them what else is possible. This always has to be our question. It's like, I surrender to what is happening right now, and what else is possible. So I hope that might help a little bit, Katrina. Ayurvedic is different than what I'm saying. Ayurvedic is a different approach. If your intuition is guiding you toward Ayurveda, you could certainly do that. Functional medicine doctor will do all kinds of tests and will look much deeper than any normal doctor or normal specialist in the regular medical field will look, and will find new solutions for you, usually. So That was a little side note, but Katrina, I felt it was really important to say that. Yeah, I would invite you to step outside just to get another opinion, right? That's different from your doctor and the endocrine team, from a functional medicine doctor, and just see what they say. They might have some really new insights that could open up brand new avenues for you. Okay. Thank you, Katrina, for sharing your situation. Yeah. So I want to share with you now paradigm shift number 2 that I have for you today. And this is related to Leonardo da Vinci. Now, we can learn a lot from Leonardo da Vinci, quite an amazing individual. I've been reading this book by Walter Isaacson. It's a very thick book. I'm not finished with it yet, and I've been reading it on and off for months, but it's amazing. Every time I come back to it, I'm learning something new and getting a new perspective, new paradigm shift on things because of how Leonardo da Vinci lived his life. Now, the one I want to share with you today is that Leonardo da Vinci's biggest, most ahead of his time discoveries were made. You know what? Let me back up because there's something that's really important here. So first of all, we know him most of all as a painter, like the painter of the Mona Lisa. What he really wanted to be in his life, and this book is fascinating because it goes deeply into this and like all of the real life things that were happening for him. What he really wanted to be was an inventor. And he also, partly because of his painting, but also just because he had such a curious mind and wanted to invent new things, he spent an extensive amount of time as basically a scientist. He would dissect bodies of both humans and animals and go into minute detail about the functionings of all the different systems in the body, the muscles, the heart, the eyes, the lungs, everything, so that he could be a better painter and sculptor and inventor. So it was like this was his background research, but it almost became what he spent the most time on more than anything else. So it's very interesting because we know him as a painter, but he was so much more than that. And what his passion was really to be an inventor. But interestingly enough, he invented a lot of new things, but he never published his findings. And so they weren't recognized. And then other people discovered the same things hundreds of years later. So it's very interesting. So what I want to tell you here, though, is that his biggest and really most ahead of his time discoveries were made due to his unique perspective and skill set of being not just an artist, painter, and sculptor, but being those things in addition to being a scientist and an inventor, right? So, for example, I'll give you a concrete example of this. He discovered the way that blood flows through the human heart 450 years ahead of the person who figured it out next. And that's the person that got all the credit for it in like the 1950s or 60s. But he had already figured it out. It is fully diagrammed and explained in his notebooks. And so what he did to find this out, this was research that nobody else was able to do at the time because of where science was at that time. He created a working glass model of a human heart. And he did this because of his ability as a sculptor to create forms, right? And so he created this ceramic heart, and then he encased it in glass, and he took the ceramic out. So he had this working glass model of a heart, and he would allow water to flow through the heart in the way that blood would do. And he observed the flow. And this was an intricately detailed glass model of a heart, right? But he could only do that in the time and place that he was in because he had these additional skill sets of being a painter and a sculptor. So what this means to you is, bringing this back to present day, I have so many clients who have said to me in our one-on-one calls, why am I interested in so many things? What is wrong with me? Why can't I just focus? Why can't I just focus on one thing? And so this is very fascinating because this is part of the consensus trance. We are taught that we should go to school for one thing and do that thing for the rest of our lives and get a master's degree and a PhD and a higher level certificates and all on that one thing. Like that's what we're told from the time we're 2 years old. And that is just not true. And maybe the right way to say this is that could be true for some people. Like some people are able to be very focused. But for all of us who identify with the Dragonfruit and who are on this call today, right? I would venture to guess that you are interested in a wide number of things. And this is so beautiful. And my answer to my clients when they ask me this question, like, what is wrong with me? Why am I interested in biology and in writing and in flower essences and in, like all these different things? There is nothing wrong with you. And if you feel that same way, if you feel like you are torn between so many different passions and you want to do all these different projects, but it's hard to get started on any of them because there are so many ideas, I want you to know you are perfectly designed to thrive in these catalyzing times that we are experiencing here today. And your task with all of these diverse interests is to find a way to bring your unique, one-of-a-kind combination of gifts and talents forward to the world in a way that nobody else can do exactly the same as you. That is what the world needs right now. We don't need more people who are wanting to be focused and get into, inside of a square box and do the same thing forever. We need people who are willing to think outside of the box, who are willing to bring in an entirely new perspective, like Leonardo did in bringing together his science and anatomy with his sculpting tools and skills and abilities. Nobody else has ever done that in the history of science. And it wasn't until the 50s and 60s that we had the technology to do that in a different way than he did and confirm all his discoveries. So we need people right now who are ready and willing to break the mold of everything that's been done up till now. Because what's been done in our modern world, it's not working. So what is your unique, outlandish combination of talents and interests that you are meant to bring forward? And how can you, just because this is what we all do, right? How can you stop thinking about your flaws and what's wrong with you and instead start thinking about how you are perfectly designed to bring forward exactly what the world needs most right now? So here is my journaling invitation for you. Just for 2 minutes right now, I'm going to give you a little bit of space. I want you to take 2 minutes and write down everything that you love to do, everything that lights you up, everything you're really, really interested in. I'm going to wait. Go ahead and write it down. I'm giving you 2 minutes. I will share the dragon fruit again to inspire you. So yeah, just go ahead, write down everything you can. This is like the speed round. Everything you can write in 2 minutes about what lights you up, what you're interested in, what you love to do. Okay, so you can stop writing or finish up what you were writing. And once you have this list, and feel free to add to it, as we go through the call or after this call. But once you have this list, I invite you to really look at it from a new perspective. So which of these skills can you take and combine with 2 or 3 others maybe in a completely new way that no one else can do, maybe that no one else has ever done before? Because no one else has this very, very unique combination of skills and gifts and talents that you have. And if the answer doesn't become clear right away, that's totally fine, right? Just open up your awareness to really discovering which of these skills and talents and interests you can uniquely combine that will allow you to become the fullest expression of yourself, that will allow you to step outside of your comfort zone in a beautiful and inspiring way that you're going to love, and that will bring you closer and closer to this place of freedom that we talked about at the beginning. And again, well, I'm going to talk about this next, right? But ask for a dream. Ask the big questions in your meditations. Well, let me just go right into paradigm shift number 3, because that's where I'm going here. Paradigm shift number 3 is we need to access the imaginal realm and the Dreamtime and the unseen forces around us in order to guide us in changing our lives. As I've said a couple times already, like the modern, logical, scientific, purely scientific, science is very good for some things. We want to bring in science when it works right, when it's applicable to what we're trying to do. But when we want to step outside of this modern, mainstream, linear-oriented world, we've got to look to the unseen. We've got to look to the Dreamtime. We've got to look to our guides and our helping spirits and the higher power of the divine to help us and guide us and let us see the pathway. We absolutely must. It's not a nice to have, right? Your spiritual practice at this time in the world is no longer just a nice to have. It's no longer just so that we can feel less stress or, have a few moments of peace in our day. It is, yes, Katrina, I love that. It is non-negotiable to have our spiritual practices, in whatever way is right for you. Again, this is very individual for each person. I'm not going to tell you what those practices have to be. I'll give you some ideas that work for different people, right? But we've got to have these spiritual practices because we have to have a place that we can go into and ask the really big questions, okay? The big questions like, how can I combine my gifts and skills and talents in a totally unique way that maybe no one's ever done before? When you drop into a meditative space, or when you do a shamanic journey, or when you're climbing up to the top of a mountain on a full day out in nature hike, and you ask that question in that space, you are going to get a whole different answer than what your logical linear mind will get as you're staring at this list right now. So we've got to ask God, Goddess, higher power, your guides, your angels, these big questions. We've got to ask them. They have access to a much larger view than any one of us do, for sure. And they also have access to knowing what your larger purpose is, where you're meant to go in this lifetime, why you were born, why you're alive right now. So we've really got to tap into that and ask those big questions. So one thing that you can do that's very, very powerful, that's universal to all of us, is to ask for a dream to give you more information or to give you an answer on something. So just think of like, what is your biggest challenge in your life right now? What is something that feels like an insurmountable obstacle to you right now? And you would give almost anything to know how to get to the other side of this in a way that's going to be uplifting and fulfilling for you. Think of that. And the answer, I'm sorry, the question can be as simple as, you know, in your meditation, in your shamanic journey, on your nature walk, when you're praying, right? Whatever the situation is for you, asking, what is it that I need to know about this seemingly impossible situation that will help me get to the other side of it, right? That is sometimes the very, very best question we can ask. What is it that I need to know about this? Or what is a deeper level of understanding I can have about this to help me get through it, overcome it, get to the other side of it? So don't be afraid to ask these big questions. And again, like I was starting to say, you can ask for a dream as you're drifting off to sleep tonight, and you close your eyes and you're like sinking into that really sleepy space. Ask that kind of a question and ask for a dream to give you a clue, to give you an answer, to give you a new way of understanding it. Now, I want to say, if you're not remembering your dreams, there are a few things you can do. One is to take vitamin B12. Now, if you have any kind of unusual health situation, definitely want to check with your doctor or with your medical team before starting a new supplement of any type. But for most people, taking a vitamin B12 supplement is very safe. And most of us need B12 because just, first of all, if we don't eat a lot of meat, right, we're not getting as much B12. And also, even the fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables that do have B12, in our modern world, a lot of vegetables have like lower vitamins than they used to have. So we need this B12 as a supplement. And so B12, vitamin B12, strengthens a part of your brain that helps with dream recall. So if you haven't been remembering your dreams, check with your doctor if you feel like you should, but you can start taking a B12 supplement very easily. And it can often really help the dream recall to come back. Also, just asking for a dream and keeping a notebook by the side of your bed so you can write down little notes about it when you first wake up, or even when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're remembering it. Write down just like 3 words to jog your memory for later on, and then go back to sleep. But even just doing that, just like setting the intention to have a dream, to remember a dream, and putting that notebook and a pen by the side of your bed can make a big difference in helping you to recall the dreams. So those are a couple recommendations. But also, we don't have to depend on the nighttime dreams. We can go into a meditative state, or we can begin a shamanic journeying practice. That's something that I highly recommend because it has completely changed my life. That has been such a big part of my spiritual path, is shamanic journeying. And in shamanic journeying, you listen to a drum beat, and it brings your brain waves into a theta brainwave state, which is a deeply meditative state. And in that space, when you ask these kinds of questions, right? What is my higher purpose? Or what is one big action that I can take to really shift my life in the best possible new direction? Or what do I need to understand about this insurmountable obstacle that I now have? When you are in a theta brainwave state and you ask these kinds of questions, again, you're going to get a much deeper, much more true answer than just from your logical, linear thinking mind. If you're interested in shamanic journeying, there is a book that I recommend. It's called The Co-Creation Handbook by Elida Birch, and I'm putting this in the chat. And yes, Kelly, I will review the 3 paradigm shifts before I close here, for sure. And we're going to go a little bit past the hour, so I hope you can stay on. But if you can't stay on past the hour, I totally understand, and there will be a recording. So in this theta brainwave state, it is a really powerful place to ask the big questions. And that book that I gave you is like a very gentle introduction to shamanic journeying. And the book is it's amazing. It's an introduction to shamanic journeying along with kind of like a workbook to help you figure out your life's purpose. So it's really powerful. I strongly recommend that book, The Co-Creation Handbook by Elida Birch. So just to summarize again, this paradigm shift number 3 is that we must access the imaginal realm and the dreamtime and the higher power, the higher intelligence of the universe in order to step outside of the consensus trance and find a completely new direction for our lives that is going to be really powerful, that's going to allow us to be self-expressed to the fullest extent and allow us to make our highest contribution to the world. Okay, so paradigm shift, I'm going to give you a summary now. Paradigm shift number 1 was you must do what you are most afraid of. Paradigm shift number 2 was we've got to bring together our diverse interests and gifts and talents in a very unique way. And when you have diverse gifts and interests and talents, it can feel like you're scattered, but that actually is an illusion. And that is because you're trying to be focused on one thing at a time, but really you're meant to bring these gifts together in a very unique way that nobody else can do. So that was the exercise we did, and I really invite you to go deeply into that exercise and learn something completely new about yourself and how you can combine your unique gifts. And then paradigm shift number 3 was that we must access the imaginal realm and the dreamtime and the higher intelligence of the universe to guide us in changing our lives. Yes, the book on Da Vinci is by Walter Isaacson, to answer Bakar's question in the chat. You can see I've read it so much it's even got a tear in it by now. Walter Isaacson, Leonardo da Vinci. I will put the author's name in the chat. If you look him up, you'll find he writes really amazing books on a lot of geniuses, basically. I think he wrote one recently on Steve Jobs. So if all of this has felt really powerful for you, and especially if you're starting to uncover some new exciting insights about what you're meant to do next in your life, I have something exciting that I want to share with you. So this is a class that I've been teaching for 3 years now, and it always gets rave reviews from all the students, and I only open it up 1 or 2 times a year. This course is called The Magic of You. Some of you on the call have been my students in this course, and I want to share my screen with you because I'm opening it up right now at a super, super low price. And so I want to share this with you because if you have a big idea about how you are meant to change the world, this course is designed to help you bring it forward in practical ways as well as inspiring and revolutionary ways, right? Really combining the practical with the spiritual to help you transform your visionary idea into a profitable business. Or if you're not going for a profitable business, if you want to create a community, or if you want to create a nonprofit, or if you want to create a movement where you're trying to gather people, gather a tribe around this idea, this course would be completely and totally applicable to that as well. And so I'm going to give you a link to this page in just a minute. But what I want you to see here is that as you go down this page, it's going to ask you some questions, and I encourage you to really read these, right? So I'll read just the first 3. Are you ready to step up to a more powerful version of yourself? Do you have an amazing idea that you would like to turn into a business where you can do what you love every day? Maybe you've started your business or your movement or your community, but it's not yet making the impact that you know you're capable of, right? Also, if you have a local business that you'd love to take online to reach a global audience, this would be extremely valuable for you. And so much is possible, and I've written some of that here under the Now Imagine section, but here's the core of what you need to know. The truth is that you are so much more powerful and more capable than you could possibly realize. And you have truly been given this passion and these visionary ideas and these diverse skill sets and interests that we talked about for a specific reason, and that's because you are meant to change the world. So if you have this deep passion around launching a business or a community or a movement that is going to change the world, and if you need to create a business that is profitable so you can quit doing work that you don't love and really step fully into the place of passion and intuition that you know you need to be operating in, then the Magic of You is a program that's going to help you step fully into your personal power and really create this in a very practical way. Okay. And you can read through these points when you come here to this page. But in this program, I am teaching a proven, strategic, and easy to understand system, which is exactly what I used to create my business, and also what I continue to use as I build new things within that, right? And there are so many benefits that this provides, right? Gaining clarity and focus, claiming the full extent of your power and mission, increasing your confidence, self-worth, and personal power. And this is really big, transforming your relationship with money. Because whatever it is, even if you don't want to have a highly profitable business, but you want to have a nonprofit or a community or a movement, you've got to have financial resources to bring people together and to really make things happen. So you've got to shift into a mindset of abundance where you are welcoming what the universe wants to send you to support you on that journey, right? This is really important. So there's so much that you'll learn here. And as it says here, the world has been waiting for you to take this step. Your tribe is out there waiting for you to really step forward with power, with full self-expression, with full delivery of your unique message that you're here to bring, and be the change that you want to see in the world. And so that's what this provides. Now I have some testimonials here that are really beautiful that you'll see. But here's what I want to get to so that you know how to take action. So I'm opening this up for a very short period of time at an extremely low price. Now, you can join this program for only $4.99 right now in US dollars. The regular price is $12.49. Now, I am going to be starting a new live round of this program with live coaching, with live interaction of the Magic of You community, starting this fall. But if you join now for only and that will be selling in the fall for $12.49. But if you join now for only $4.99, you get immediate access to the full course content in self-study, home study mode, where you can work through the content at the pace that you want, as quickly or slowly as you would like to do. And I'll tell you more about the content exactly in a minute. But you can work through this at your own pace. And then when I launch the new live version this autumn, you will get to be automatically included in that for more than 50% off of what everybody else will be paying at that time. Okay, because you'll be joining now for $4.99, and then at that time in the fall, you'll get into the whole live version for free. So this is an incredible value. And so this super special pricing ends on June 12th. That's Wednesday, June 12th. And so here's the button to purchase. So let me put in the chat here the link to this webpage. For more info about Magic of You. Go here. And if you know that you want to purchase it already, you can go here. And so I want to share with you what you'll learn, but first I want to tell you why I call this the Magic of You. The Magic of You is all about what you are uniquely meant to bring forward in the world. And this is just so beautiful to me to see all the incredible people who have come through this course, the men and women who have attended and who have come through this course and who have done the work, right? and launch their amazing businesses. It's so beautiful to see. Every business is as unique as the individual, and every business is filling a very important need that our world has. And so that's why it's about the magic of you, because it's about the magic that you are uniquely bringing to the world through speaking up, right? Stepping into your power, speaking up with your inspiring voice and making a difference in the world. And in this program, if you want to create a profitable business, you'll be guided on how to do that, how to come into a great relationship with money, to really welcome in that abundance, and how to do pricing of your services and products, right? We get into all of that. So let me share this with you. Here are the 11 modules. And what I recommend is taking about 2 weeks with each module. But again, if you join now with the home study version, you can, take as long or as short as you want with each one. So module 1 is clarity and focus on your highest path, to really choose who you are becoming, to really choose that future state of yourself that you are working toward, and to find your strongest medicine and make the decision to bring that out into the world. And then we'll talk about confidence and self-worth and personal power, because these are absolutely foundational to everything else that we will do. And this is really about getting into the flow with who you are meant to be and what the universe wants for you. When we're in the flow with the universe, seemingly insurmountable obstacles become like anthills. And things that we never thought we could do, just the opportunities open up, and we find ourselves doing them, right? It's really incredible what can happen. So this is foundational for everything else that we're going to create. And then we'll go right into some practical steps here, creating and optimizing your website. And I have, in my work, I have researched for the most budget-friendly and user-friendly options with all of the technology that I'll share with you here. So you can really and truly get a beautiful and professional website up in less than a week with very minimal funding. And minimal funding is around $200 for the website for a full year, right? Or you can pay monthly and it's much less. I will guide you in how to do this, and it is so much easier than you think. And then in module 4, we'll continue with practical aspects of technology tools to save you time and money. So in addition to your website, what do you need for your business, community, or movement to really get your message out there? And how can you set that up? And then we're going to talk about, and these two modules 5 and 6 are closely tied together, marketing and communications from your heart and soul. So this is something that is so important to me in my business. I'm not about selling. I'm not about pressuring people. I'm about building an amazing relationship with my tribe. And then creating amazing opportunities for them to shift and transform their lives, right? Like what I'm doing here. So I want to really share with you on this sacred feminine way of getting your work into the world and creating abundance in a way that feels really good and is helping your audience, not pressuring people, just helping them on what they're deeply needing through that profound relationship that you have with them, how to really create that. And in module 6, as I said, closely tied with that is your ideal client. So who is the perfect person to work with you? Or if you're creating a movement or a community, right? Who is your tribe? Who do you want to call in? You want to connect with the people who will receive the highest benefit from what you're offering. And we'll really talk about how to figure out who that is and how to reach them. And module 7 is about how to reach them. So it's called List Building Secrets, but it's really about building your tribe, reaching your ideal clients or your community of people all around the world, taking this out of any local limitations, and we are global, right? That's what this is all about. We're here to change the world. And then in module 8, we'll look at pricing and packaging. So if you're creating a business, this is really important. How to create your business in a way that your valuable time and energy is properly honored, where you are not getting exhausted, you're not on the hamster wheel, you're not feeling worn out all the time because you're working too hard and not getting paid enough. You are setting things up from the beginning to be inspiring and really to honor the way you want your life to be created, the way you want your days to flow, the time you want to have with your family is fully available, and so on. That starts with pricing and packaging and how you set it all up. And then we'll move into generating real income, how to keep a steady and reliable stream of income coming in throughout the year, really welcoming in the abundance that the universe wishes to send to you. This is so important, again, because if we don't bring in this powerful money mindset, we will be in scarcity and exhaustion. And that's not where we can bring forth our highest contribution to the world. I want you to be in a place of abundance, welcoming in that abundance, really receiving it, so that you can sleep well at night and then go out and do your amazing, amazing work in the world the next day. That's the space we need to be in. That's what abundance allows us to do. And then in module 10, we're going to talk about really setting up your business to support your optimal schedule and time flexibility that you need. And make sure you have all the self-care that you need. And also creating boundaries as far as contracts and financial agreements and how to really do that in a beautiful way, but also to protect yourself in this business structure. And then module 11 is all about planning for expansion. What's next? How to establish your thought leadership on a global scale. How to think big. Now I have some bonuses that are important for you to know. The first 3 people to join today, June 7th, will receive a 60-minute one-on-one business coaching session with me. And this can be used whenever you're ready. You could use it right away. You could take a few modules of the course and then use it to drill into some questions you have about your specific scenario, or you could even wait until we start the live round in the fall and you could use it then. This is a $359 value. It just needs to be used by December 13th. So you have well over 6 months, well, just about 6 months now to use it, okay? So that's for the first 3 people to join. So if you want to join that, click on the link to purchase directly that I put in the chat. Make sure to do that right away because I'm sure it's going to, those 3 spaces are going to fill quickly. And then bonus number 2 is that everyone that registers for the Magic of You will receive my course, The Space Between Dreaming and Awake. And this shouldn't say 2018, obviously, but how to consciously redesign your life. This is a course that I've offered for many years, so there's an update in there that needs to go in. But this is a really valuable precursor to the Magic of You. If you haven't already taken The Space Between Dreaming and Awake, I want to make sure that it's included for you. And then bonus number 3 is what I spoke about, that everyone who registers for the Magic of You and who gets it for this amazing $4.99 price by next Wednesday, June 12th, you'll receive the home study version right away, but you'll also get full access to the live version of the course starting this autumn. And that is worth so much more than $12.49, but $12.49 will be the sticker price for that in the fall. So there's more on this page that you can explore if you want to come to this link. But I want to come back on here and open up for questions. And then, fairly soon we can close the call. So I want to, thank you so much, Kate. I love your comment. Thank you, thank you. Kate says, Jocelyn truly delivers on all of this and even more. I took this last fall and now have a website. I am right on track with creating the online coaching business of my dreams. I'm so excited for you, Kate. You're doing such amazing things in the world. Okay, awesome. So let's open up the Q&A. So if you have a question for me, you can have a question about the Outlandish presentation, right? And the 3 paradigm shifts that I shared with you, or you might have a question about the Magic of You. Any of those things, go ahead and either raise your hand. There's a hand icon at the bottom of your screen that you can tap on. Or you can put your question in the chat. You can put your question in the Q&A box. Let me see. Yeah, there's a question in the Q&A box that I'm going to type an answer to. So, Araya, I just put an answer to you in there. If you could reply to me in the Q&A box, that would be great. Okay, and Andrea, let me bring you over. So Andrea, you're raising your hand. Let me bring you over to talk. And everyone else, don't be shy. Feel free to raise your hand. Hi, Andrea. How are you today?
Jocelyn, I'm good.
Good.
Catching me on another one of my busy class days, so I'm just fitting this in.
Oh, I'm so glad you could attend.
Java class. But thank you so much for offering this. Of course, I'm in the space between dreaming and awake course as well, and you started to talk about some of these themes in our class on Monday, and a lot has been percolating very deeply with me this week that we talked about on Monday, and then with what you've brought here today. Like I just, I really do appreciate the work that you're doing and creating spaces like this for us to be connecting, with what we have to offer this world in such deep ways. You bring a real gentleness that I think is also so helpful for stepping into the scary places. Like, with my own story, like what I did last year was just, mind blowing, of, reaching people all over the world and really radically changing people's lives. But in such a scary area, exposing sexualized violence is such a scary thing. So it was really, there was just really very little that was like gentle or pleasant. But
yeah, it took great courage, tremendous courage to do what
just crazy. So, like I connected up with you when I'm like flat on the pavement after that experience, because I took a heavy beating. People, like, it's just not a nice arena when you go up against sexualized violence. But I love women, and that really does connect with this, connection with the earth that I've been making through connecting with you and your programming, because I feel a real connection between how women are treated and how the earth is treated. And so I'm just, in my grand, painting of life, that, I'm really delighted that you're playing this part in. And, like I originally thought, well, I am, just closing up, the online business work that I was doing and heading into doing this PhD. And then I'll be opening up a business to sell my healing game software, that I want people to access on their, smartphones that they're carrying everywhere with them. So, this radical change. And, I just signed up for this course.
Welcome.
Hoping to be one of the first 3 because I love talking with you. And so, I'm just like exploring, like, like where is this going? Like, maybe things are not going to be as cut and dry as what I thought. And I am heading into, in a couple of years, opening up a new business for the healing game software. And, maybe the work that I will be able to do with you in this very generous, extensive course, I'm going to be able to develop, maybe it's going to be part of maybe somehow reworking what I did before and making it more available to the world, because I think there's value in what I did before. And also maybe it's going to help me to create foundation for what I have, going forward with. And I put it in the chat. It's very funny how you said we don't need a PhD, because here I am heading into a PhD, because I need some pretty serious technical skill to be able to develop the healing game software. Yes. So I'm now inviting you in on my journey as I head into my PhD, and working with you in this course that you have just introduced me to today, and I'm sure others. So I just wanted to come on because I just really feel like there's some kind of strength that is starting to rise up within me after being beaten down last year. And I really welcome what's ahead, and I really thank you for what you are doing and what you're inviting me and others into. And I really welcome doing this in the community that will form around this as well, because I think really special people are coming around these exciting topics that you're bringing forward. So thank you.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited that we will get to work together even more, Andrea, because it's really a pleasure to have, to be witnessing your journey and to be, having these exchanges with you and just seeing how things seem to be evolving really quickly for you. It's really amazing. And I feel that rising energy that you're speaking about, like in the time since we started to talk. So it's really beautiful to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations on
it.
What's that? I didn't hear.
I look forward to working with you further as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And congratulations on working on your PhD. It's really exciting. And I never want to say like, don't do that. But my message is, even if you didn't, you would have everything you need, right? But if that is what your soul is calling you to do, then absolutely, absolutely go for it.
I agree.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for raising your hand and being visible in the space. And yeah, I'm so excited about the community of outlandish people we have gathered here today. It's just so exciting.
Thank you from your Halifax Dragonfruit friend.
Yes.
Signing off.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. Have a great day.
You too, Jocelyn, and everyone.
Thank you. Beautiful. Let me see what other comments we have here. Oh, thank you, Ibtisam. So Ibtisam is saying, I feel what you actually offer and hold cannot be even equated in monetary value. That's the outlandish part. Love it. But yes, Jocelyn, you do provide a teaching that bridges this gap and materializes the technology and current mode of transmission. Thank you, Ibtisam. Ibtisam has been in my class too, in The Magic of You. And I really appreciate what you've said here, Ibtisam. And that's the thing, like this whole money piece, like the money is such an important tool that we need to be able to receive the money. We need to be able to then send it back out in all the ways, whether it's supporting causes that we believe in, or using it to support our business or community or movement, or using it to get the self-care we need to replenish and then go out and do our work, right? The financial abundance piece is really important, but all that we're doing, like Ibtisam has said here, it cannot even be really expressed at all in monetary value. Everything that you all, the insights, the ideas, the new inspiration that might be coming forth for you after hearing what I said during this call, it's just so much bigger. It's part of the larger plan. It's so much bigger than the money. But also we need the money to help make it happen. So it's like finding the right balance there. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Katrina, it's an interesting balance, right? Because money, yes, money is part of the consensus trance. Money is human created. And it is a part of the system that we need to know how to use right now. And I don't know where it will go in the future, right? But money has been used for some very bad things in so many cases. But it can also be used for good. And that's a big part of my mission, right? Is how can we shift things? How can we shift this entire economic structure? And I think the first part of that is taking that financial, taking some of those financial resources away from the oil companies and the big corporations that are harming the earth and using it for what we know to be good work, right? Pulling some of those resources to us away from those big companies. But I think a later stage, or maybe a second or third stage of that, will be moving away from money altogether. But I think it will take some time to get to that, right? So we need to work with it. We need to work with the system we have, and we can work with it in really beautiful ways. So those are some of my thoughts. Let me look in the Q&A box here. Okay, Araya, I will send that to you in an email. I have your email here now. Great, wonderful. And Lucy has a question in the Q&A box. Let me just read this. Yeah, Lucy, this is a great question. So Lucy is saying, I feel quite rooted in my stuckness, and I know there are no promises about your course. And yeah, I mean, you know, the promise is that you will receive everything that you need to create your profitable business or your successful community or movement. But it is all up to the individual to complete it for sure. So Lucy is asking, how can I feel more trusting that I can and will complete a process to start me on my path? So Lucy, what I will say is that such a big part of this is working with a mentor that you really feel connected with. And that is very different from, you know, for each individual person. So I know that on my journey, when I have made big up levels, when I have made big shifts in what I was able to bring forward into the world, it was when I was working with somebody that I deeply trusted, who could help me move through my blocks and through my obstacles that have been holding me back, and help me to really see a completely new perspective. So what I will say to you, Lucy, is that in this class, that is a very, very top priority for me. Just as I have been doing in this call, right, is really shifting perspectives, really trying to give you a completely new way of approaching a situation that you probably haven't tried before. And to do that with deep love and compassion for you and for this beautiful community of dragon fruits that have gathered here today. Like that's what I bring that is unique and very different from other online programs, online coaches, that kind of thing. I really combine the practicality with this sacred feminine approach, a spiritual approach, because I believe that you cannot have a successful business without that piece. And when you combine those two things, then opportunities and synchronicities start to happen that otherwise would never have happened. So if that resonates for you, right? And if you feel like I am a person who could be a mentor that would really help you to get through those stuck places, I think that's where the change can really happen for you. And maybe it's not me, maybe it's somebody else. But maybe what I'm sharing with you now opens you up to go and find that person, right? So whether it's me or somebody else, it doesn't matter so much in answer to your question, but it's finding who you can work with that will really help you move into a whole new space where you don't feel those limitations holding you back so much. And you're able to move past them, and you're able to really take action in the ways that you know are right for you, because you've got this other perspective. You've got this other person guiding you who can help you to get there. So I hope that's helpful to you, Lucy. That was a very good question. Okay, and let me look in the chat here. And again, everybody, don't be shy. Raise your hand. I love to see your smiling faces. If you really don't want to, though, you can put your question in the chat. Okay, let's see. So Lib is saying, what if you feel you know your purpose, but don't feel magnetic enough to draw in people or interests? Being magnetic is something that I feel limits me. Okay, that's very interesting, Lib. So now I don't know you at all, but my guess, or even I think what this is my intuitive sense about this, is that the purpose that you've identified so far is a piece of what you're meant to do, but it's not the full extent of it. And when you connect with the full extent of your purpose, or maybe not even the whole thing, but like a larger part of your purpose, you're going to be so passionate and excited about it that that's what makes you magnetic. Because being magnetic, I mean, some people do have a skill around that. Some people are very charming, very charismatic, and it comes naturally to them regardless. Like they could be talking about a very boring thing and still be magnetic. But I really think for more of us, I know this is true for me, when I am passionate about something, when I deeply believe in something, when I am lit up about talking about something, that's what makes it magnetic to others. So Liv, this is my really deep intuitive sense for you. This is about discovering the deeper levels of your purpose that are just going to light you up and bring out your passion and excitement about it. and that will translate to people in a whole new way. So I hope that shares a little bit, Lib. I'd love to know if that resonates for you. That's a really good question too. Really, really good question. Because there's this shift that happens when we go from what we think we should be doing to, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out of bed and do this because I love it so much. And that's where we become magnetic, when we're so passionate, when we're so aligned with what our soul wants, that it's like just fireworks are happening whenever we work on it. I really feel that for most people, that's when the magnetism happens. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. Now I don't see any more questions, so I'll go ahead and close the call unless anybody has one last question. So Lib has said, this resonates. My passion wanes at times because I do feel there's more to my journey. Yeah, Lib, this is really strong. Like I get intuitive hits for people. So even if I can't see you, I sense your energy, and this is really, really strong. There is a whole deeper level to your purpose than what you are currently aware of. So I invite you to really ask for information about that, right? In your spiritual practice, or ask for a dream, or maybe go and get like an astrology reading that will give you more information about, really and truly, what is the deeper level of your purpose. Got to ask those big questions. It's going to make all the difference for you. Okay. Yeah, that's really beautiful, Ibtisam, what you wrote here. Yeah, the dragon fruit, we need to cut it open and share it in order to experience it, right? It needs to be brought into the world. It can't just sit there. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for gathering here today. This has been so much fun to be here with a tribe of dragon fruits, and I've just loved this so much. So I hope you all have a wonderful and beautiful day, and please do go ahead and explore the magic of you. I'm going to put those links in again now at the bottom of the chat here. So the first link is to learn more about the magic of you, and the second link is if you want to purchase directly. And I don't know for sure if we have 3 people signed up yet or not, so if you know you're going to join, definitely go and do it right now, because you might still be able to get one of those top 3 spots and get a free one-on-one call with me. And remember that as long as you join by Wednesday, and this offer is, this $4.99 offer ends on Wednesday, June 12th. And also with that ends the opportunity, of course, then to buy at $4.99 and get in at no additional cost to the full live version in the fall. That's worth $12.49, or really worth way more than that, but that's the price of it. So definitely check that out if it has piqued your interest. There's a reason for that. And I can't wait to meet those of you who will be joining the class. So lots of love to all of you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a beautiful weekend coming up. And lots of love. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.